Welcome back to The Watch, and here on Night's Watch, we are fans of the material, right? We are passionate about comic books, movies, TV shows, video games.
We like things. We love stuff.
And we are excellent consumers, I think, of this stuff.
Do you have to use that word?
Yeah, no, don't use...
Please?
We're not consumers.
We're not consumers, we're fans, all right?
We're fans.
We're fans.
You're also fanatic about stuff. Okay.
Exactly.
So we all love what we love, right? We have a passion for it. And I think what comes with that is understanding why we love it.
Yep.
And I think that's to do with story, with the lore, just everything to do with what it is.
Now, one of the sad parts about being such a fan is that it doesn't necessarily mean that the people in charge of the things that we love are also fans. Mm-hmm. In fact, more often than not, they're not even fans to begin with.
No. And look, I think to begin with... Okay, actually, no, take that back. I was going to say, to begin with, some of them are fans. Look, I think some of the OG, like, Marvel, the really old, like, 1970s, those were, as cringy as they were loyal to the source material. Yeah. And I think in the early 2000s with X-Men and stuff, they were somewhat...
Even with early MCU days, you could absolutely argue there were writers that were in charge that were fans. I think Joss Whedon actually was a fan, considering he did make some good work there.
I would agree with that, for sure.
But more recently, we've discovered, both through watching the material, and now recently people have come out saying that the people in charge of this stuff, the people that write the stories and the reasons why we're so mad at these people is because they're not fans and they hate the material that we've grown to love so much.
Absolutely.
They just can't help themselves but denigrate it. At this point, they are just opportunists, if anything. They just see, big franchise. That looks like something I can get my mitts on and get exposure or whatever it is that they are looking for. Mostly just a paycheck. And also a platform to put forward their political views, we'll just say that.
I think as well, do you think these people were jealous of when, like, comic book movies got popular? Do you think... Because I reckon some of them were, back in the day in high school and stuff, were either the jocks or the pretty people who were like, nerds play D... they were bullies, I think.
I think it was more these people saw something that was so popular and so loved, and they thought, you know what? I can do it better. I can write a better story. I can write better characters. So when they came into these franchises, they just went, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah, that definitely ties into it. They do generally, though, seem to have what you said, this genuine... And I mean it. It feels genuine. They disrespect everything about what we care about. And it knows no boundary. Every franchise.
And they even openly admit it.
Exactly.
The director of Andor came out and said he's not even a Star Wars fan. Now, like, I don't think it should be a prerequisite, but I don't think you should be starting from a negative place. Like, if you're starting with, okay, it's not really my most favorite thing, but I can still do it. I mean, okay, I still don't like that, but starting from, like, I'm not a fan at all, I've got a problem with that.
Yeah. You know what? I've just realized something. Back in the day, like, 2016, 2017, we noticed with Star Wars, a lot of people who were working with Disney was saying, I'm a big fan, I'm a massive fan. J.J. Abrams said it. Ryan Johnson said it.
And the first thing they do is change everything.
Exactly. So, it's honestly, part of me likes the honesty.
Yeah, like, at least
now we're not... They're not lying to our face.
At least they're being honest, so we can point them out and say, there they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before they were just lying for their teeth, and it was ridiculous. The main reason we're bringing this up is there's been a lot of stuff going on with The Witcher recently. Fans are not happy. Henry Cavill was not happy. And he basically went away.
He left.
Yeah, he's gone. And he left.
Because Henry Cavill is like a big fan of The Witcher, right?
Massive fan.
He's a massive nerd, just in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves Warhammer.
He's one of our people.
Yeah.
He plays World at Warcraft.
Come on the show if you want to. We're in Australia. We'll buy. I'm sure Shad would dish out the ticket to have you come here for an episode of just nerding out. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
anyway,
I'll talk to The Witcher. He is The Witcher.
Yeah, he's a massive fan, and there were parts I remember on the TV show he'd call things out and like, that's not accurate.
Yeah, there was one.
Apparently, he carried around like a little book and called out shit every time they would do it.
Yeah, from what I understand, there was one incident that really drove him away from the writer's vision, and that was it was to do with Geralt's horse. Now, I haven't seen season 2. I watched season 1, was like, yeah, no, this is not going to go well.
Now, I just want to go on a little tangent here.
Go for it.
Now, I am someone who, as a fan of these sorts of things, I am very, very against going against, like, don't go against the law. However, there is only one example that has ever come to my mind where I think the adaptation is better than the comics.
Yeah?
And that's The Boys. Have you read The Boys comics?
No.
Have you seen the TV show?
I watched season 1. I did not like season 2.
You didn't like season 2?
No, it was woke trash.
Okay, so the comic books... I'm sorry, it's a bit of a tangent, but
No,
the comic books...
I agree with you on season 1, for sure.
The comic books are very different to what you get in the show. And I genuinely like the show. I like the characters. It feels very real. It feels like New York in current day. In the comics, it's like... It's a hate letter to superheroes. Like, it's not the same sort of vibe as the show and stuff. Like, I think a lot of people who read... If they liked the show, went and read the comic, they would not be into it. That's the only time that I've ever been like... I'm okay with not being on with Canon. Only time.
I mean, there are obviously exceptions here and there. I believe Haunting of Hill House was a example of a book being adapted. It was made into a TV show, but the TV show was really good until the end. So you can do it, but I think it has to come from a good place first.
Yeah.
With this stuff, it never comes from a good place.
Yeah, like I think of a good example is with the Peter Jackson trilogy, okay?
Yes.
That wasn't necessarily always perfect.
No,
but at the end of the day, I think his goal was we need to have this epic journey with these heroes. We need to get to Mount Doom. Like
People
like
hardcore fans still loved it.
yeah, like he respected it.
Because they felt the love through it. And then, I mean, you could talk about the Hobbit trilogy, is a different thing. I like the Hobbit trilogy. I like it. I
like it too, but it's bad.
But again, you know, it came from a place of I like the material. Obviously, I can't fit everything in because it's different medium. But at least my goal is to still make Lord of the Rings. Now, switch that to Wheel of Time, where you
which one's Wheel of Time? Is that the one with the...
No,
that's Willow.
Sorry, he's a bit confused. So yeah, Wheel of Time is with the Magic Ladies.
Okay, the magic... okay,
yeah, where you are changing characters' age purely for them to have relationships or mature.
Censor the magic there. Censor that, okay? I want to be very clear about this. Let's censor that thing. I feel like... I keep saying it!
He keeps... we're censoring all of it!
Yeah.
So Wheel of Time, where they change the age of the characters so they can have more adult relationships.
Oh, did they? Oh... Because I've been reading Eye of the World, and they're like, what, 14, 15
Yeah, no,
in that book?
in the show, they are at least in their early 20s.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and they... Wheel of Time, Rings of Power, they all...
Don't say
It's
that.
not even fan fiction, because fan fiction at least has some breadth of canon, or they're like, okay, we're gonna... You know, I read fan fiction when I was younger with Last Airbender because like there wasn't enough seasons, so fair enough. I was like, I want more story, and so they would always base it off of how the series ended, and then go off on their little adventures.
I'm
and whatever.
curious. Did you like Legend of Korra?
Did you?
I am very conflicted with it. There are parts of it that I'm like, I'm quite impressed with. Other stuff, I'm like, ugh.
Because I loved Airbender. And I could not get through Korra. I got through like the first season, and
different seasons have different.
I'll say two
I wasn't
words.
feeling it.
I'll say 2 words. Dark Avatar.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah.
All
Look,
right. Let's move on.
Okay. Anyway. Anyway. This isn't like Last Airbender. It's about writers hating stuff, and so. Look, we're not saying that if you change the story or adapt the story, that you are necessarily a hater.
Yeah.
What happened here? Have we read the quote yet? We haven't, have we?
I don't think we've gotten to the quote yet.
No,
Let's get
we
to the
haven't.
quote.
Essentially, the context around this quote is there was a writer that was hired for The Witcher, and he found out very quickly that the showrunner and the other writers did not care, and, well, let's just see what he says. Now, he goes on and says, my general rule, as a writer, was you had to be a fan. No questions. I've been on the show, namely Witcher, where some of the writers were not, or actively disliked the books and games, even actively mocking the source material. It's a recipe for disaster and bad morale. Fandom as a litmus test checks egos and makes all the long nights worth it. You have to respect the work before you're allowed to add to its legacy. Why was this guy not hired for anything else? Like... Poor guy. I feel for him.
we've read on this channel a lot of quotes, especially with the Rings of Power showrunners, and they are an absolute pain to read and listen to.
Yeah, go
This
check-
man is a real writer because the way he conveys this message is clear, precise, and it has power.
Yep.
The way that he's just like, it checks their ego. Before you add to the legacy, you gotta love this stuff. Like, this is a good quote.
Yeah, and he was screwed over.
Gatekeeping. That's it. That's our job as fans. To
Yeah.
gatekeep.
Yeah, and at this point,
And it's not to say that we're like, you can't like this fandom because it's mine.
Like it. It's just, it's a different story when you're like in charge of it and you're creating for millions of fans, you know, what they love.
Yeah.
Then gatekeeping, it's like, hey, as fans, it's your job to check when something isn't what it's supposed to be.
Well, it's what he just said there. If you're going to add to its legacy, you should at least respect what it was.
Like,
And that's we haven't seen that for so many franchises. Star Wars is a great example. How they just do not care about what the legacy was. In fact, they took the legacy and crapped all over it with Luke and recently Obi-Wan.
and with, what do you mean with Luke and Obi-Wan? What about Anakin as the chosen one?
That too.
Yeah, with Rey and the reinventing of
Anakin
Kylo
as well,
Ren.
you
And,
are correct.
Palpatine somehow returns, ruins the entire
yeah.
arc of the first 6 films. That's
Yeah,
what they're all
you're correct.
about.
All of it, pretty much. And
with Marvel too, you're seeing as well.
gee.
They are crap. Like, look, the original MCU movies, I don't think are old enough. But I think now they're at legacy stage. Right?
I mean,
like,
if we're talking Phase 1,
OG
sure.
Iron Man, you know,
Yeah,
Thor,
yeah,
like
yeah,
they
yeah.
are
I
a
would say
legacy
that.
now.
Yeah.
And they just crap on them by, you know, changing, sex swapping them, changing their races, just or like crapping on them,
Or
like
just destroying their legacy.
Yeah, She-Hulk was just like, oh, you got to be a philanthropist, playboy, orphan boy to give you superhero. I
Yeah,
don't want to be
in-
that. Like, okay.
You've watched Falcon and Winter
Yeah.
Soldier, right? Wasn't there a moment where Falcon is not can't get a loan for his house?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, shouldn't Tony Stark have taken care of that? He was paying for everyone.
Yeah.
So they make him, by omission, they ruin him as well.
Yeah,
They ruin Tony
'cause-
Stark.
Yeah, he tries to go for a loan, and then he says, "Oh, you don't have enough money. Don't you like get paid?" And
They
he's like,
keep on
"Oh,
doing it."
Tony's kind of just like making us do it for free." Like, also, you expect Tony to be the one paying for it just because he's a millionaire? You're saving the world. I think governments and stuff should also.
I don't think they're his employees.
Yeah, like you're big. Plus, he works for the army. What the hell?
Yeah.
Shouldn't he be getting some sort of like salary or?
The thing is, though, we see it so many times where they just crap all. Like, that show is a peak example of they
disrespecting
disrespect
legacy.
everyone, including Cap as well.
Like She-Hulk actually made me so mad with the
She-Hulk,
way
that's
they.
a big one.
Oh, he wasn't a virgin. He was a virgin.
Not to mention they make Bruce look like an absolute moron.
Yeah,
I think he's okay with that because I'm pretty sure like the actors are raging
Yeah, I know.
lunatics.
Yeah.
He's
but
cool
alright.
with it.
still, the fact that they disrespect Bruce, who just, it just devalues everything else that we've grown to love and enjoy.
Exactly. That's what they do with each and every single one of these franchises. They're devaluing it with their additions. People, there's this thing that goes around, and I'm sure you guys have heard it, where people go, "Oh, this is the greatest time ever. We've never had so much nerd material and all these franchises coming to fruition." But it's like, the problem is, a lot of this stuff would have, in the past, been scrapped.
Yeah.
And rightly so,
This is
because it's of poor
This
quality.
is the sort of stuff that gets rejected at like the script level.
Yeah.
They go like, no.
But now
Yeah.
Hollywood standards have just crumbled so far. They saw that nerd culture is something that they could capitalize on and increase. So they did, but they also realized, we don't need to put the effort in. Who cares about reading all those books? Who cares about watching that show? We're at the point where they don't keep up with even movies.
Yeah.
That are too... With the
Like
sequel
two-
writers, all they had to do was watch 6 films and take notes. That's it.
We're just people will say now we're in an age of quantity. Look at this like breadth of content we have, or quality is off the table now.
Yeah, and what's the point when the people writing these stories don't care?
And like I think there's a difference between like not necessarily enjoying a show, the fact that they actively hate and make fun of the source material, mocking it even.
Yeah,
like that is.
Like I'm personally not the biggest Witcher fan. Genuinely, like I don't think it's bad. It's just like the aesthetic doesn't really appeal to me that much, but it's still good. I like the game, especially the third one.
Yeah.
But at least I'm not like, it's not like I would be actively trying to like, you know,
denigrate it.
Yeah. Like, I think it's great. It's just like not my flavor. That's it.
Yeah, and that would be fine. And
I would never have the hubris to be like, but I can make it better.
Yeah, exactly.
I can do something better, you know, than everybody else.
But that's the thing. These people do.
Yeah.
And the problem is there's way too many of them, it seems.
It's more that they're all in the one place. They're all in California. They're all in the one spot, so they all think the same way, and that's why we keep just getting the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same worldview. It's the same... They even all sound the same after a while when they talk. I've forgotten her name, the showrunner of The Witcher, but when fans were pissed off, because in Season 2, as I understand, they killed Geralt's horse, and they made it a joke. Now, you've played the game.
Yep.
Geralt has a...
He's
a friend. He's good with his horse, right? That was going to be a joke, and apparently Henry Cavill's like, that would break everything.
Yeah.
I want to change that. I want it to be serious, and they didn't even care.
Yeah.
So they just let him do it.
Yeah.
And
like, I like, as I said, I'm not the biggest fan of The Witcher, and I'm not the biggest fan of like the lore or anything like that. But I felt like with the show, Season 1 wasn't terrible, but it's like, where's the monster hunting aspect? Like, there was barely any. Like, exactly. I understand they need to focus on the larger story and stuff. That's fine. But, like, at least do the fun stuff,
Yeah, and it just seems like they hate us. It really does. Because every time... A lot of the time, we're asking for simple stuff.
Yeah.
You're a big Star Wars guy. You would like to see proper Jedi and Sith.
Yes.
And
like,
you haven't gotten it.
No, I haven't.
And it's a very simple thing they could give you. But they hold it back.
It's so interesting you said it, right? Because I think of, like, you know, you're getting angry. Okay, Andor, not a fan. The maker wasn't a fan.
Not a fan of it.
Andor, not Star Wars. Kenobi, obviously that was just a big...
Oh my god, like, there's just so much.
There was nothing there.
Kenobi.
But then you get Tales of the Jedi, Dave Filoni, who is obviously a fan.
Which is
it was good.
There was just like minor things.
Minor things, yeah.
And you could even say that was just taste.
Yeah.
Like, just like the Ahsoka episodes were a bit unnecessary.
Yeah,
but apart from that, everything else was tops. It was
And
really
like, in terms of its legacy, I think it built upon what Star Wars already was. Where like, with Kenobi, just crapped on Vader's arc, Kenobi's arc, it completely sidelined Luke, like, just everything was ruined in that show.
Well, the thing is, the Vader comics, which, you know, basically informs Disney version of Vader, is really good, and the writers are really good. It's like, it's solid work. But in the Kenobi show, they just undo all of that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, if your own storytellers who are pulling from their own canon don't care, why should you as a fan?
Exactly, and at this point, that's where we're at. Rings of Power was a big slap in the face to someone like me, who's a big Tolkien fan. I've read all of those works, and all they had to do was give me Gil-galad doing incredible things, Celebrimbor forging the rings with Anatar at his side, and they couldn't do that.
I think what's so crazy is I never would have thought, as like a kid, I never would have thought I would get to the point where I'm like, I don't want content. I don't want you to make content. Like, one of the best things that I think Star Wars could ever do is to focus on the Old Republic.
I agree.
Focus on the Old Republic when the Sith Empire is at its highest and the Jedi is at its height.
Yep.
And they're at the war.
And they go at each other's throats.
I think that would be the greatest Star Wars content I've ever seen.
It's got the potential, yeah.
But I don't want Disney to touch it. I don't want them to go near it. I don't want that content from them. Period.
Yeah, I never want to see live action Revan. Never.
Yeah. Well, we'd got it was Raver.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Raver.
I mean, they kind of stole a piece of Revan's name, sure.
Yeah, they stole a name and then made it Raven's arc as well.
No.
Jedi, Sith, Jedi.
No, that's... No.
That's the example, though, right?
I suppose you could, yeah.
Them adapting previous works and legacy. It is cheap.
I have never heard someone say that Reva was Revan. That is like
not 1-to-1, but they based Reva off of Revan.
But no, they didn't.
Yeah.
Like that, you could just say that about any Jedi who like converts and no.
I think the point we're trying.
I reject this premise. I reject this. No.
The point we're trying to get at here is Here's the thing. Bringing up Reva though is a interesting example to talk about, just because she exists to denigrate all of those characters. Obi-Wan is turned into an absolute moron because of her. Vader is turned into an absolute moron because of her.
Well, the problem is she was inserted into a story that should not have had her in it, period.
Yeah,
like,
she shouldn't have
you
been
could have the Inquisitors in there, sure. I mean, like, it would make sense because they're Vader's, like...
Lapdogs?
Yeah, pretty much. So, but, like, having it focus on a new one, and it's like, if they had inserted Trilla from the Jedi Fallen Order game...
no, that would have been great.
That would have been great, yeah. She was a great character, but they had to, like, copy that character and insert a worse version of it into Kenobi.
And... Again, the reason they did it is because they don't respect us. They don't care.
Yeah, they do not respect the law.
Yeah, I don't think
the
they even
fans.
give a damn about even trying to look at Fallen Order. They'll probably just like, oh, look, there's cool little set pieces. Yeah, we'll take those.
No, but like I said, they don't even respect their own canon comics. The comics that they make, they don't respect that.
I know. That's the problem. It's a constant thing with these people.
Yeah.
And their disrespect of the law, it ties into their greater disrespect of us.
Yeah.
Us hardcore fans, we devoured this stuff. We wanted to understand this stuff. We wanted to just show it all the appreciation that it deserves.
Well,
I did this with Halo.
Yeah.
The Halo TV show is an absolute abomination. So as a result, I read all the books. And the books, they're fantastic. All the Bungie ones, specifically, don't read free stuff. Don't. Okay? They're a part of this as well. It's not just movies and TV shows. Video games
is a whole other discussion, I think.
They get hurt too.
But video games are a good example. Like,
Yeah, they can be.
like, we can even go back to when, what are they called? The Jedi ones. Starkiller ones.
Oh, Force Unleashed, yeah.
The Force Unleashed, they were good games, but they didn't adhere to the canon. But it didn't feel... I don't want to say disrespectful to the canon, except for like the Vader stuff. But like for the most part, they're very good games, great story. A lot of people have a lot of reverence for them, and they're not canon at all. And I don't want them to be canon.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing you could apply with the Shadow of Mordor games.
Yeah.
They break law.
Yeah.
I want to make that clear. But there are certain things they do that are really just nice as a lore fan.
And they're also good games.
Exactly.
Like-
and they don't claim to be part of the canon.
So it's
they're like, we are fan fiction. We're okay with being fan
So
fiction.
this is the thing. Fans are okay with canon when it feels like you at least
care.
care and respect the law. It's just when they come in and they don't care, they don't respect the law, and it's so blatantly obvious, and you're like, you are not a fan of this. You don't like this thing.
Yeah, and either they lie to our faces, as was the case with like Ryan Johnson and JJ, or they'll just come out and say it, which can even be worse.
And then they say, you're not letting me write my story?
Yeah.
Are you stopping me from doing what I want to do?
Yep.
I'm a great, noble creator, and by you saying this, then they give you all the slur words saying that you're a toxic fan because you don't accept them into your
Well,
gatekeeping.
that's the thing.
No.
That's all just to hide their incompetence and lack of effort.
Well, it's all cope.
I think this actually dovetails into a very interesting is like the idea. Remember like the early 2000s. Imagine the concept of an actor or like a director coming out and like straight attacking the fan. That would be like, you would get fired, you would get blacklisted for that. But now it's just like commonplace. Actors come out, oh, they're all racist, or they're all trolls, they're all this. Oh, we're coming out, oh, we're not going to adhere to what the fans need. It's crazy.
It is, and they constantly do it. This is like a common practice now.
It's just
and
like,
it wasn't. You're correct.
It's so predictable at this point. It's like something new comes out and it's not adhering to law. Okay, well, hold on. The articles are going to come. They're going to come. Don't worry. Tomorrow, the next day. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just... Yeah, they don't care about us. They really don't. Not only do they not care, they hate us.
I don't want to end on that note. It's
They hate us.
They don't care about us.
Well,
Right?
Like,
we don't need to end on that note, because you know what we can do? We make our own stories.
Exactly.
A lot of things that Shad's doing with
Shadow
your
of
own
the
age.
Conqueror and
Yep.
All-Star.
And hey, Enemies of Self graphic novel. There's going to be volume 2 for that. I'm sure we'll all make our own things as well. And you're watching this instead.
Well, I made my own comic book. I made my own Star Wars comic book because I hated what they were doing.
Yep.
Yes, like fans are starting to do their own thing. I think like there's big YouTubers who are doing their own thing because it's like they're putting out so much,
Yeah.
year after year that fans are just going like Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
I think I'll like to end on this point because this is a very important one, and it's a message directly at these people that take our franchises.
Okay, hold on. Deliver this directly to camera.
I will. You people have hijacked things that were created by real nerds, real fans passionate about things. George Lucas was someone passionate about Flash Gordon and stuff like that. you've taken these things, you've either claimed to be one of us, or you've denigrated us to get your crappy story in there. But the problem is, you are always going to live in the shadow of those great directors and writers. And you know what? I hope that you realize that. That's it, really.
As always.
I'm saying. Stay on watch.